Hey folks, welcome to the Cripescast. We are powered by Everlight Solar. I'm your host, Charlie Behrens, and here's today's episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Cripescast. This week, we've got a great Midwesterner on the podcast. His name is Nate Russell, aka Nate Russ. You've seen his stuff on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube popping up recently. He's got this great bug-in series, and I love a good video about bugs. So you got to check out his stuff. But it's great talking to Nate, who is a Indianapolis native. It's just great talking to another comedian, kind of born and raised in the Midwest, just kind of making his way in the comedy world. So he is, it's fun story. Also, he's Baptist. I'm Catholic. We have some good religious talk back and forth. The differences between like the services, I thought that was fun. And overall, just a great dude to talk to. So I'm excited for you to all hear it. A fun thing about Nate, and really a reason I wanted to have him on is he's been in the game for a while. And his videos just started popping off. So I know we have a lot of comedians out there who listen to this podcast. And I get a lot of questions from listeners about like, how much time do I give it before I realize if I should just quit and do something else? And the answer is there's no right answer on that. And if you are sort of loving creating whatever it is you're creating, whether it's comedy or music or, I don't know, journalism or painting or whatever your thing is, I think the moral of the story is just stay on it, because he was doing this for a decade, I think is what he said. And then all of a sudden, one video really popped off into a series and sort of exploded his following, not overnight, but over like a couple months. So all the hard work is going somewhere. And I think, the big thing is just for us as people to just find our outlet and to keep going after it. And I also think it's cool. I get to talk to Nate at a point in his career where like he's got so much more to go. And just see like that energy and that excitement that he has about finding the next thing and sort of the next steps. And so I think it's cool to just see all the different processes of sort of someone's career. We have people on here who have like, are retired essentially. And we have people who are like, my peers, sort of Taylor and Miles and Nate and these guys who are like making it as we go. And we're just sort of talking about that as creators. So I really enjoy conversations like this. I think you will too. Want to let you guys know that I am on tour. I am going to be at the State Fair. I'm going to be in Hayward at the Lumberjack Festival. I'm going to be up in Bayfield at Big Top Chautauqua. Come see me on the road. And then come the fall, we're going on the second leg of the good old-fashioned tour. It's going to be a good time. Hope to see you guys out there on the road. If you want tickets, charliebehrens.com. And then also, we are continuing to raise money for Doctors Without Borders. You can find them linked up in the show notes or go to doctorswithoutborders.org and or follow them at Doctors Without Borders. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here is my conversation with Nate Russ. Thanks for coming on, dude. I'm a huge fan of your videos.
Appreciate it. Likewise, brother.
Thanks, man. So you're down in, where were you born and raised?
Born and raised in Indianapolis.
Got it. Okay. I saw that. So you got those Midwest roots then?
Yeah, man. Who's your state, man?
Yeah. When did you kind of move out of there? How long were you in Indianapolis for?
I've been down here in Georgia a little over 2 years.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Literally right outside of Atlanta. I moved here for comedy, entertainment, all that, acting.
Yeah. So did you come up in first of all, I am probably going to say this in the intro of the podcast and everything, but your videos, the bug-in videos, I mean, that's kind of the thing that just caused you to take off.
Which that's the wildfire.
Yeah, which was super cool because I love how you like hit that concept and you just found like that first one, maybe like 28 million views or something,
20, something like that. And that's just on IG.
Yeah. Let's start with like the concept. For people who haven't seen the videos, kind of give them a little bit of a synopsis, but then like tell us where that sort of concept came from and what it was like when they first started taking off.
Gotcha. So the first video came from literally kind of out of nowhere. I was on my back patio, pacing back and forth. I had my setup, my phone, my tripod, trying to think of something else, just something unique, just something. I was probably going to do something about relationships or a couple, I don't know, something. And as I'm pacing back and forth, a mosquito flies past and like lands on my shirt, and I fan it away. Like, God, I hate mosquitoes. And then I said to myself, I bet even other bugs hate mosquitoes. I shot it in like 5 minutes, put it out the next day, and now I'm on Charlie's podcast.
Yeah, the light bulb went off or went on, and then the moth went to the light bulb.
Literally. Literally. And then from like to answer the other part, I saw it had traction. You've created videos where you say to yourself, okay, this is a pretty good concept. This is creative. I believe in this one. Put it out the next day. It went crazy. And initially, I wasn't going to do a series. It was going to be a one-off video until I saw the response from people say, hey, we want a part 2. We want more of this. And I said, well, hell, why not?
Yeah.
Here we are. We'll be on part 35 tonight. So
that's awesome. I mean, and I kind of had a similar thing with mine where the first video for me to take off was called The Man Talk Minute, which was where I was doing news headlines with this Midwest accent, and then didn't expect to do another one. And I did another one. And then you kind of do a bunch of those, and then I sort of just branched out to other sketches and all that sort of stuff. Do you find, and you do other sketches, I've seen you do a bunch of other sketches. But how many videos did you do before this one kind of took off?
Before this bugging...
Before the bugging series. Yeah.
Oh, man, I've been doing content creation for 10 years.
10 years.
This is my most viral video, the first one rather, but it's been my most viral video. But yeah, I've literally been doing this since 2014. And I've had videos, get some traction, but nothing like this. So, but yeah, you're talking about 10 years, man. So a lot of videos, hundreds of videos.
Yeah, it's cool to see sort of that consistency pay off,
Absolutely.
In the way it does. Because I kind of get the question a lot from people just randomly out and about like, how did this happen for you? And sort of for me, it was just making videos and then starting with that. Because then once one takes off, to like really take advantage of that. I think almost maybe the worst thing to have happen is the first video you ever put out to do great, because then you don't take advantage of that. You assume it's going to happen every time.
Exactly.
So like you're doing these videos, but you also do stand-up.
Absolutely.
Are you a stand-up first comic, or are you kind of a video first comedian?
I like to put myself as a stand-up first. A lot of content creators or online comedians, they get grouped in. They're like, oh, those guys can't do stand-up. And I like to say, no. I'm a stand-up comedian first. But I take both of them equally as serious. I'm serious about my online content. I'm serious about joke writing and my stand-up as well. So, but yeah, I like to lead with stand-up comedian.
Yeah, it's kind of like you can't just do one anymore. Like, well, let me say this. You can just be a video creator on the internet, but it's like, if you're a stand-up, you can't just be a stand-up. I feel like those days are gone. I don't know many people who are just a stand-up and able to like really move tickets, And
I will say the ones that I know that are just stand-up, they've kind of been solidified for a long time. So even before the boom of content creation, that was all they were doing. So I was like, I'll just post clips on my stand-up. But as far as coming in the game, slim to none.
Yeah.
Slim to none. Very, very few that I know just strictly post stand-up, and that's all. But I know a lot of people that do both. Now, do you do stand-up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, that's where like the first bit that took off was from. It was from a stand-up thing.
Okay.
It was from a stand-up set, and then I made it into a video. I started off in LA doing stand-up. I was doing news,
Yeah.
transition to stand-up. But it's funny because like I've been doing stand-up like headline stand-up since 2017, but
Mhm.
there's still that aspect where like not everybody knows that, you know,
Yeah.
or that's not the first thing you're known for
Right.
because we're in this what most people know you for is what you're on their phone for all the time, and
Exactly.
that's these videos. But it's a cool thing for people who want to do stand-up because it kind of democratizes it a little bit,
Mhm.
gets everybody able to put their stuff out and get a following and sell tickets. And at the same time, it's almost hard to find yourself in such a clouded or
I know what you mean.
crowded landscape, you know?
Yeah.
So to break through, especially in the way like that you did, like how did that feel when that thing took off and became sort of your biggest video after doing it for 10 years?
Man, it felt great. You know, you throw a lot of things at the wall and you're like, okay, this will stick or this will be my thing. If you would have told me, I don't know, even a couple years ago, a video about bugs, that's going to be the one that take you to a next level. I'm like, yeah, okay, I got some better stuff than that. But you know, the people will tell you what they like. If it feels good to know that after so long, like, okay, I'm in the right direction. I'm doing the right thing. Yeah, man, it just feels good.
A big reason like I wanted to talk to you on this podcast though was like I feel like you're in such a cool place as a creator and as a comedian,
Mhm.
and also the Midwest roots, but to be at that point where your stuff is just really taken off,
Mhm.
because it's like a fun creative place to be and you get so much I feel like energy from it,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially at this point. And how you utilize it and go forward is like still very open. Do you know sort of where you want to take this concept, or are you kind of at that point of where it's like just a video at a time, next video, or do you have sort of a larger direction you're hoping to go?
I know for me, ultimately, when I first got what I won't say when I first got started, but I quickly found out that okay, I enjoy screenwriting. I enjoy drama. Of course, I love comedy, but kind of mingling all those things together. So I love creative writing. So this has really helped me tap into another level. It's like, okay, I really want to turn this into a professionally shot series. So that's my new direction for it. I mean, I from the first video to now, I've upgraded, you know, how I do it and made the each video longer. But getting to a point where it's a full on series where I have other characters and I have, okay, this is the origin story, this is the prequel, you know, stuff like that. So that's the direction I'm headed. You know,
Yeah, that's
it takes some
cool.
time because that's a lot of planning. It's easier to do it when it's just me, but
Yeah.
you add in a cast and it's a lot. It's a lot. So, but yeah, that's the direction I'm headed.
Yeah, you're building out the bug universe, you
Yeah,
know?
man. Yeah.
Do you what do you think it is about bugs that just made it take off? Is it the fact that it's so relatable? Everybody knows bugs. Everybody's got issue with some bugs.
I think from that first video, everybody, I don't care who you are, if you a bug lover, nobody likes mosquitoes. So I think taking that concept and adding human personality was something different. So people kind of took to it. That's my thinking. You know, everybody says, "Ah, these mosquitoes." Everybody's always swatting and you know killing them. But I think that is what really took it to another level. You know, just from the vantage point of a bug. Say even we can't stand mosquitoes. So
Mhm.
I think that's what really took it to the next level.
Like a few years ago, one of my videos was Mosquito Sees Therapist. So I
Uh-huh.
like dressed up as a mosquito and I was playing the therapist too,
Yeah.
where he was holding like a magnifying glass.
Hmm.
And that one, like I was like, oh, this one's gonna crush. This one's gonna do
Yeah.
so good. And it did fine. It did good. But
Hmm.
it was one of those videos where like, man, I wish it's like I think this video is gonna murder, and it did it did
Yeah.
okay. You know, there's a lot of those videos like for
Yeah, a
creators out
lot.
there.
I've had so many over the years. Dog, this is the one to get me on SNL, and it
Yeah.
get like 2,000 views. I'm like, man, y'all don't know what good stuff is.
Right.
But I mean, the audience, they like what they like, and again, man, I mean, I knew this video. I had, you have a good feeling. You've been doing it long enough. Like, okay, this is going to do pretty well.
Mhm.
But I had no idea that it would do this.
Yeah.
But and I'm glad it did.
Yeah, because it's kind of a life-changing thing for you. Because before it, how many followers did you have on Instagram before that took off?
So I dropped the first video of bugging May 22nd. Before then, I was actually slowly increasing within a couple weeks before that, and I was at like maybe like 120,000.
Mm-hmm.
And probably by the time this podcast comes out, I'll be at 500K.
Yeah.
So you're talking about within a couple months, man, just three something, 370, just in a couple months. So yeah.
It's cool to see like how it pops off like that really quickly, because I feel like there are a lot of people that have been at it for a number of years and are at sort of the verge of like giving up or just saying,
Mhm.
oh, it's not for me. But a lot of times it is, just a video away, like going from it being a hobby, a thing you want, to a thing you have. So it's just kind of staying in that creative, that sort of creative focus,
And you've been creating content long. And how long you said you started when creating content?
So less time than you actually. I was in, well, I shouldn't say that. Probably more time, but I mean, I started in like 2008 working like in this sort of journalism entertainment kind of world. And so that's when I started doing like weekly content. Back then was like for MTV. But then from
how old are you?
08, I'm 37, dude.
Okay. All right. That's all right.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was in college.
I was a sophomore, I think, in high school.
You didn't need to say that. You didn't.
I didn't. But
you
no,
could
it felt. I had to follow up, so I had to say that part.
You could have just said sophomore, though. You didn't have to.
Nah, in high school. I want the people to know where I was.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're 37.
I am, but what I'm telling you is you didn't have to let the people know where you were. You could have let it sit there. But now I'm kind of seeing something about.
But I just wanted to be generous for the people. I didn't have to, but just for the folks, man.
Yeah.
So 08, you've been doing this thing, but you've seen social media change a lot. You've seen the algorithm and stuff and all of that. And like you going back to what you were saying about giving up. And the past couple months before all of this, I'm like, man, what is going on? It's like I got 100,000 followers, but why am I only getting this amount of views? Like, am I doing something wrong? But you keep chipping away at it, and here we are.
So, and are you at a place now where you're like, can you move tickets now from a stand-up perspective? Are you like selling out?
Yeah, I won't say selling out, because that's another part too. I haven't been headlining for long, but I've been doing shows for years, and I have been able to move some tickets, but now I'm really getting to see, okay, can you move tickets by yourself? This is your show. You're not featuring for somebody. This is Nate Russ. This is you. So we'll see. I have my show in Atlanta, August 25th. Some tickets are moving. Of course, we always want to sell it out, but with some more promotion, it's going to be a nice turnout.
Nice. Where are you playing down there?
Atlanta Comedy Theater.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, Atlanta Comedy Theater.
Oh, that's great. Well, people will have to check out tickets. Where can they get tickets? We'll do a plug at the end. But.
At atlcomedytheater.com. Just atlcomedytheater.com. Get those tickets. 7 o'clock, August 25th.
Nice. So what part of Indianapolis did you grow up in?
I kind of live east side, mainly, of Indianapolis. Yep, east side. Yeah, no west side. Yeah, all of the east.
Were you sort of comedic growing up? Did you have aspirations of doing this, or what did you want to be as a kid?
Man, as a kid, I didn't know what I wanted to do, man. I like doing drama and theater as a kid. At my church, we would have like Christmas plays and stuff like that. And I would play like a Roman soldier beating up Jesus or something like that. So that was cool. But I never as a kid was like, oh, I want to do that. It never seemed real to me. I would say that, every young kid playing sports, I want to go to the league. I want to go to NBA. I want to do this. But entertainment never seemed real, like a real career for me. Watching all that or Double Dare and stuff like that. I was like, it looks cool, but I'm like, I don't know how to do that. We're in Indiana. But I would say once I was in the military, I realized like, okay, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So out of boredom in my dorm room in the barracks, just started doing videos, and here we are.
Wow. So you went to the military right out of college, right out of high school?
I went to the military a year after I graduated high school. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And what like inspired the military push?
Man, I didn't know what else I wanted to do.
Yeah.
It was literally like, I knew I didn't want to go to college. I knew then I was like, I'm gonna waste some money.
Mhm.
I'm gonna waste some money. So I was mature enough to know that like, okay, I'm gonna waste some money if I go to college. So I was like, well, what else do I do? Like, I don't want to keep valeting cars for forever. So I was like, well, join the military. They'll pay for college whenever I'm ready for it. And I signed up and I left like almost a year after I graduated high school.
Where did you serve?
Air Force. I was stationed in Holloman Air Force Base, middle of nowhere, New Mexico.
What kind of stuff were you doing for them?
I worked in mental health.
Wow.
Mental health. I tell people that, people automatically, oh, so what jet do you fly? I didn't.
Yeah.
So no jets. Yeah, I worked medical.
That's great. And are you out now or any
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
I got out officially in 2016. I just served a 4-year contract. Just didn't want to renew. At that point, I was already doing videos consistently, not full time, of course, but I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try this comedy thing out. And yeah, here we are.
And so you went right then did you go back to Indy first to start up comedy? Okay,
Yep.
so what's the stand-up scene like in Indy?
Ah, man, it is. It's growing now.
Yeah.
But I mean, at that point, we had Jokers, Crackers, and I think Helium at the time. Now we only have one major comedy club, which is Helium. But the scene is growing. You got your local bar shows. People, will rent venues and, do shows. But the scene it's not like Atlanta. I'll say that. It's night and day compared to Atlanta. But it's growing. It is
Yeah. How many years were you doing it before you decided to move to Atlanta though? Like how many?
So I would say I moved back to Indy in 2016, and I moved here to Atlanta in 2022. So 6 years.
Oh, got you. Okay, so you were like, did you feel like there was potential for it to move at all, or that's why you just got out of there? Like there wasn't. If you wanted to grow, you had to pick a spot and relocate.
I had grown on social media. I was still pumping out videos at that time, but I knew that Indianapolis was just they're not hiring for talent and comedy and entertainment how Atlanta is.
Right.
So I understood that, okay, it's kind of a glass ceiling here in Indy. So to take it to another level, I feel the right decision would be to move to New York, LA, Atlanta. And out of those three places, Atlanta was the most affordable. So I was like, well, let me go here and try it out. And it's been working.
Yeah, that's great, man. And do you find like the sort of the energy there is something where you can collab with people? People are doing things. It just it kind of gets going easier.
Everything that I had written down or that I had in mind that Atlanta would be, it is, or it was. It's all of those things. It was the collaborations, the networking, the ability to get on stages with people that I look at and look up to and have studied for years. It is all of those things and then some, So Atlanta was definitely the right move in the right direction for my comedy career.
Is there anything weird about like you being a Midwest guy going down to Atlanta? What are the sort of social differences that you see, or what are the cultural differences?
Uh, the accent,
Yeah.
it's hard for people to pinpoint where I'm from. Atlanta, they have and there's a difference between an Atlanta accent and a Georgia accent, because Georgia gets real country
Yeah, yeah.
once you get outside of 85 or 285. But people, it's hard to pinpoint where I'm from. Like, are you from St. Louis? Are you from Milwaukee? No, I'm from Indianapolis. And I'm always the first person they've ever met from Indiana. And I hear the assumptions like, I thought it was nothing but corn. And I'm like, well, yeah, it is. But like, I didn't know it was black people in Indiana. Yes, it's all nine of us, all related. But it's hard for people to pinpoint where I'm from. But social norm or differences, not a crazy amount of differences. I would say that I've seen. Um, yeah, I mean it's nothing huge. I would say I've
Right.
noticed.
I live down in South Carolina. I lived in Greenville for a little bit,
Ooh,
or
okay,
Gerville is how they would say it. Gerville,
Garfield.
something like that.
Uh-huh.
They wouldn't say Greenville. They would say Gerville, like
But they're
Gerville.
talking about Greenville.
They were, but I can't even do it. There are people in Greenville listening to how I just said Gerville, and they're like, "You're an idiot," you know.
Okay.
But that
Shout
was
out to
kind of,
Garfield.
yep. There you got it. Or but the accent was really impressive. They knew exactly where I wasn't from, when I was down
where
there.
where
So
you weren't from. Yep.
yeah.
You definitely ain't from around here.
No, but that's that Midwest to Southern thing. I feel like there's a lot of sort of similarities in, like there's a lot of niceties, at least to your
Mm-hmm.
face in both places. And then, it's got certainly its differences, too. But I got a kick out of living there. There's a lot of m- like there's a lot of the same love for like hunting and
Mm-hmm.
outdoor stuff,
Yeah.
and just like, yeah, not being inside, at least until the
Yep.
summer comes. What's worse, a Midwest winter or a Southern summer?
A Midwest winter. A
Yeah.
meal. I don't mind the heat. I really don't. I much rather be outside. I don't have to go outside at 12 noon every day, but a Midwest winter, bro, you're from there. I remember the blizzard of 2011, man. That was my senior year in high school. I had to bring
Yeah.
that up again because you're 37.
Thank
But
you.
I'll never forget that, man. School shut down for 4 days. There was literally layers of ice, and hell, even a couple years ago, I think it was 2022, like January. We got like 16 inches of snow, and it was just,
Yeah.
the salt trucks were turned over. I'm like, they
Yeah.
gotta get out of here.
It's
It was,
those Arctic blasts, I think, is what it
yeah,
is, where it pushes him from the pole. Yeah, it definitely gets gnarly. But
yeah, man. What
those,
would you say?
um,
Because
I
you live in
mean,
South Carolina, so yeah.
I did. Those summers are brutal, man. Like it gets hotter than hell, but at least like at night, it's nice.
It's
Like
beautiful.
you walk out, it's great. So I would say, look, I like to ice fish, so I'm gonna go with the Midwest winter. I'll take that because I like
Okay.
that whole situation.
Okay.
But it's, anything, you just kind of make the best of it. You got no
Got
other
to,
option,
man.
really. You know.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um, when it comes to like thinking about like career and kind of where you take this and how you parlay it, are you hoping, like, do you want that sort of that dual career kind of throughout, like where you're doing like the videos transition to shows, the stand-up sets transition to like a stand-up tour, or are you hoping to go down one path or another one?
Man, I look at um Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, those guys that I truly look up to. And they did the dual thing what Eddie Murphy did for a little bit. Then, once he got into movies, it was a wrap. There was no more stand-up. But I love both. I do want to take just the skits and sketches and turn those into full-fledged shows and, networks and, YouTube web series, things like that. But I also love the stage. that the stage is one of those things I don't ever want to leave. You know, I truly do want to take this into tours and Netflix, or not just Netflix, but comedy specials and albums and things of that sort. So, yeah, man, dual.
Folks, excuse the interruption, but I want to let you know that this Cripescast studio is powered by Everlight Solar. We've got those solar panels right on this roof. It is saving the environment, saving the wallet. I tell you what, I barely pay any electric bill now that I've got those solar panels up there, and I feel lucky for it. If you want to figure out if your house is a place where the solar panels would make financial sense and make sense for the environment, get a hold of Everlight Solar, everlightsolar.com. They'll come out, free consultation, and you can figure out if it's going to work for your home. Also, Fleet Farm, I tell you what, keeping your car in great shape year-round is easy when you're shopping at the Fleet Farm. You need a new set of tires? They got a huge range of options and different treads for trucks, cars, minivans, and more. Are you working under the hood? You can find your go-to motor oil, fluids, and batteries to keep your car running smooth. You can even schedule routine auto maintenance right at the store through their auto service center. Keep your car running smooth every day with all the best from Fleet Farm. And folks, want to let you know that you can follow Cripescast on all the platforms. Okay, we've got behind the scenes stuff at patreon.com/Charlie Barons as well. And if you want to see me on tour, go to charliebarons.com and click on the tour section. I am going to be at the State Fair this week. I'm going to be, if you're listening to this on the day this comes out, I'm going to be at the Lumberjack Festival in Hayward. Make a trip up. Or I'll be in Bayfield Saturday night. It's going to be a good time. I will see you guys there. All right, back to my conversation with Nate Russ. Do you kind of get the thing, though, if people know you for your videos, they come to one of your shows and they're expecting some of those bits? Do you incorporate that for that fan base at all? Or
So this first show, August 25th in Atlanta, this will be the first video, the first show since all of this new stuff has happened. So I have to kind of put into people's mind, don't expect me to come out strictly talking about bugs or doing act outs of dragonflies. Like, that's not what this is. But I would say before all of this, not really. People didn't really expect that of me, to do things they saw in my videos, talked about in my stand-up. So yeah, I don't want anybody to be like, are you gonna be a roach on stage? Like, no.
yeah.
Don't come expecting that.
Yeah, I got you. What is your stand-up? What kind of topics do you mostly go after?
My upbringing, man. A lot of church. I grew up in church, a lot of that, a lot of family stuff, the workforce, a lot of that, past relationships. I'm not a topical comedian. I don't really do current events.
Right.
A lot of my stuff is evergreen. So I just, a lot of family, a lot of upbringing, a lot of jobs, true experiences.
Yeah, it's nice to not be topical, because then you don't have to constantly pay attention to the news and all that sort of stuff, And then your jokes last a lot longer too. You have a lot more time to perfect them.
Yeah, man. Somebody finds me 10 years from now, whatever I was talking about then is still true.
Yeah. You grew up in the church. What church you grew up in?
I grew up Baptist, man. Baptist.
Okay, cool.
Grew up Baptist. A lot of singing, a lot of dancing, like David dance, a lot of, all of that stuff, man. A lot of, even though it was the Midwest, it was kind of like Southern Baptist.
Yeah.
Man, then it's black church. You ever been to black church?
Yes, I have. I'll tell you this, growing up, couple places, South Carolina and LA, and Dallas as well. But I grew up Catholic.
Okay.
And I remember my first time going, I was like, oh my gosh, it's just like the movies. Was
it a Baptist church?
It was a Baptist church. Yeah.
Good old Baptist.
It was so much fun, man. I was like, you guys can't have this much fun in church. That's not allowed.
I'm glad how long was the church? How long?
A long time.
Yeah.
Hours.
Yeah.
I was, because Catholic, first of all, you get there, it's the same in every language. You can go to there's this one Hispanic service I go to where it's in Spanish. My Spanish isn't great, but I know exactly where we are at all times.
Don't miss a beat.
It's an hour, and if the priest makes it go over an hour, people are pissed. They got the music, but the music is fairly boring. People sing off key, and if we sing more than 2 verses, people are like, "What are we trying to prove?"
We don't need the club mix. We just come on, it's not the extended version. Let's get up out of here.
Right, but you guys take it to a whole new level. So, what's the longest service you've been to?
Oh my God. I think it started at maybe it started like 11, and I think we got out when I was 23. It was a long service, man. Hours every Sunday. 3 hours, 3 hours. The game is in the second quarter. Marvin Harrison had just scored a touchdown, and we like, come on, man, we got to get out of here, man. But long service.
That is funny though, that difference. Have you ever been to a Catholic mass?
I haven't. Okay. I would go check it out, but I just haven't been.
That might be a funny video, like Catholic going to a Baptist church, or a Baptist going to a Catholic church or something.
Now you're based in Milwaukee?
Based in Milwaukee, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that may be something we could do, man.
We should do something like that.
We could figure that out, man.
I got a couple shows coming up in Georgia, so we should connect when I'm down there. See about doing a sketch or something.
Yeah, let's set something up, man.
It could be a lot of fun. Now, when you say you grew up in that church, was your dad a pastor or something like that? Your family?
So my father was not in church.
Okay.
That's what makes my upbringing, and I'll talk about this in my set. My upbringing was conflicted because my mother, she was the one who had me in church, involved in all of the different youth ministries and choir and the dance team, but my dad was in the streets. So, I won't go into detail, but it was a very conflicted upbringing.
Yeah, duality, man.
Yeah, man. So, you want to be like your father, but your mom has you singing the solo at church. And that stuff I talk about on stage. I go into more detail. But yeah, so my dad definitely wasn't in the church.
Got you.
He was the one we were praying for.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah,
but
man.
You then getting into church, I mean, that probably as an entertainer, like you build a lot of those skills, like you just mentioned, singing, and I feel like again, the Baptist church I've been to, there's such a great performance aspect to it, like where it demands attention. You know what I mean? And like demands you feeling something. Whereas I feel like Catholic church is kind of like, I dare you to not fall asleep during this. Like the songs are sleepier. The priest can honestly, depends on the priest. Some priests are great, but other priests are up there kind of droning on and sort of saying like, if you're not entertained, or if you're not paying attention, that's a problem with you. They don't always make it their responsibility to bring your attention. So, and whether one is good or the other is, neither one's good or bad. It's just, that's the difference. But I feel like from an entertainment standpoint and from a connecting with people standpoint, it's so much easier, I feel like, to connect, or so much more engaging. And I feel like it leads to like, maybe it inspired you as a performer. Do you think it did?
It definitely did, man. We did church plays. I was again on the dance team, praise and worship, and all of those things helped mold me into the performer I am today. Of course, with other things that I was involved in, but yeah, I see things that I do now. I'm like, oh, I remember doing this as a kid.
Yeah.
On the performance aspect. So yeah, man, it definitely influenced me a lot.
Do you have a bunch of siblings?
I have one sister.
I got 11 siblings, so I got a
You got
bunch of
11
them.
siblings?
Yeah, dude, I'm one of
Where
12.
are you? You're where?
Second oldest.
Second oldest. So the
Yeah.
oldest is how old?
38, 38 and 21.
So from 38 to 21. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
My mom was pregnant for a long time.
Yeah.
Long.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Same
How
parents.
old are your parents?
65. My dad just turned 65 a couple days ago.
Shout out to
So
Dad.
yeah, exactly. They got after it and they had yep.
Yes, they did.
Yep, yep. But that was kind of fun. That's I think where a lot of my entertainment stuff came from is just trying to like, punch through that many
Yeah.
kids, especially at the dinner table, and we would roast each other and all that. So with your sister, did she kind of like give that to you, or did she go a different path herself? Are you both entertainers?
No, she ain't give me nothing. We're 8 years apart. And
Oh, okay.
I'm the big brother. I mean, yeah, there's definitely a lot of stories and a lot of, experiences that we had coming up, but I was that typical big, but I teased her, stuff like that. But a little bit, yeah, I can see that, yeah, a little bit. But dang, I'm thinking 11.
Yeah. Yep.
11,
No twins.
12 kids.
12 kids. 12 kids in 18 years, I think. Something like that.
What are the holidays like?
Holidays are fun. That's what
I can imagine.
And crazy. They're very crazy. There's always.
Do you have a lot of cousins?
Yeah, I got like I have a lot of like 100 maybe.
Same here.
Somewhere. Yeah.
Same here. I don't have a lot of siblings, just one, but I mean, all of Indianapolis is my cousin. It's deep on both sides. Yeah.
And what's fun is once you start getting like more followers and stuff, and then you just get more cousins. People are like, you don't know this, man, but we're cousins.
Oh, man. People have already like, oh, I know your uncle. I'm like, that's really not my uncle. That's just my dad's friend. But I'm like, all right, I guess you're my cousin now. Just don't ask me for no money.
Yeah, no, that'll come. That's kind of fun though. What is the reaction been like from your mom and your dad? Like since your stuff has like kind of taken off, have they seen the difference?
My mom, she's in the comments more than I am. she is like the IG scavenger. She goes through not even just IG, both. I mean, Instagram and Facebook, and she reads the comment. Did you see what that lady said? Then did I'm like, I didn't actually. I should pay you to manage my social media at this point. So they're both super excited. She tells me about all the comments. Dad, he's super geek too. He isn't in the comments and things like that, but just making sure it's like, hey, just watch out for this and don't let this person try to get over on you. If this person says they're your cousin, they're not. Stuff like that. So Pops, he has a keen eye for just making sure nobody's trying to get over on me and stuff like that. So
I got you. That's great. Is your mom? My mom, she's very religious, and your mom seems very religious. Does she do you ever get some feedback on some videos you put out if she thinks you may have missed the mark that Jesus had set forth for you?
Not really. Now I will say this: the bugging series, I've specifically done this. I've kept it clean.
Yeah.
Now on stage, I'm a little different, but for bugging specifically, I've kept it clean from the first video up until, because I've noticed that it spreads further.
Yeah, it does.
Clean content, it goes further, and then I see people like, oh, me and my son, we love. I'm like, okay, like I'll keep it clean. But even prior to that video, she may say something, but the thing about me, I'm very stern, and I really don't care what people say, including my parents.
Right.
So they really don't give me their opinion, like, oh, Jesus. She doesn't do that.
Yeah.
She just lets me do me. But even with that, I don't do anything extremely vulgar, even outside of bugging. So it's nothing that she would even have to say anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thankfully, she isn't one of those. She's very spiritual. She loves Jesus, but she's still down to earth.
Got you.
Thank God. She isn't
Yeah.
one of those, like, you need to repent and like don't do that.
Yeah, that has historically an opposite effect of what people want. You know, it kind of reject it. But that's interesting. You bring up sort of the clean comedy side of it, because like I noticed that with my Manitowoc Minute series. Like I wasn't intentionally doing clean stuff, but I was just trying to make it like funny, and it happened to be fairly clean. Except I ended it with saying "fuck the Bears," but I bleeped out the Chicago Bears, and people in the comments were talking about how clean it was and how fun it was to do it. And I was like, did you not see the last 10 seconds? But anyway, they got over it. But I started noticing, same thing you are, of how people are like, yeah, this is awesome. I can watch it with my kids. I can send it to my grandparents. And then when I do live shows, it's like maybe anyone from 11 to like 80 is there. And there is something to be said about like getting really good at stand up or doing these videos while keeping it somewhat clean.
I agree.
Because it's harder, I think, personally, not to say that people who are not clean are worse at by any stretch of the imagination. It's harder for me to keep it clean. I'll just speak from my perspective, but it's interesting because you see your audience get wider. But then as you see it, you now have more pressure to keep it more clean.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested for you, to see like how you transition that. If the content that most people know you for is clean, then how do you perpetuate that on stage, or how do you tell people this isn't that?
Yeah, man, and that's kind of where I'm going back and forth in my own mind. But at the same time, one thing I've told myself, and I tell other comics down here in the Atlanta scene, funny is funny. If you are funny, just if you have that gift, you can be funny clean or you can be funny dirty. If you're funny, no matter what you do, it'll be that. So for myself, and I found myself putting that pressure on myself and challenging myself to be clean on stage. And I still had the same level of funny. So I was like, well, I might as well. But I don't ever want to label myself as that either.
No, God, no.
You're like, oh, I'm a clean comedian. I don't want to put that label on it, because then people would be like, oh, he said damn, or he said ass. And like, I mean, it's still a clean set mainly. But then once you put that label on it, people are, all right, we're going to hold you to that. And it's like, shit, fuck.
Yeah.
now I just want to cuss just because you're trying to hold me to that. So,
I know it can be limiting, and it also like it kind of puts you in, it's sort of like when you listen to Christian music. Like if it's on it could be a good song, but if it's on the Christian music station, I'm like next, like, but it's like it's almost like how you set the bar for it. And even if it's dirty, like if I always think if it's funnier than it is dirty, or funnier than it is shocking, if it's funnier than it is blank, it's good to go, But where I think it gets like, it goes against like my taste or my interest is if it's like more shocking than it is funny. And then I'm like, that's not exactly what I'm,
I'm not really a shock comedian to be all the way honest. I don't really go for that. Like I just tell shit, this is my truth. This is my story. This is literally what happened. But I do know comics that intentionally go for the shock. And some are funny. I do know some that are hilarious and they're very witty and clever. But others, I'm like, that, like you said, that was just more shocking than funny. Like it actually wasn't funny at all.
Yeah, and like that coming up as a comedian, like it's hard to get stage time. And so and it's just hard to be good. So you're going to be
Yeah.
bad at being a shot comedian before you're good at a shot comedian.
Yeah.
And so it's just going to be actually that might be a more difficult role because you're going to get less stage time. Because if you're like clean, not even I'm a clean comic, but if you're generally clean, you'll get more opportunities than if you're not. So it's just, and getting good at stand up is just all about stage time. So,
absolutely.
It's kind of like, do you want to set yourself up to get more reps or not?
Exactly.
And then I feel like being a shot comedian is really something you can grow into once you kind of have your bearings of the rest of comedy,
You hit the nail on the head, man. I would tell anybody if they want to do the shot route, get good at it first. Get good at stand-up, period, first. And then once you are able to get stage time and, you have your own shows, then branch off into that. But, I mean, if you look at most comedians who may be dirty or whatever, a lot of them did start the route of, hell, Richard Pryor. He was a squeaky clean comic starting out. And then he branched off and, the Richard Pryor that we all know and love today. But yeah, he started out clean.
Yeah, I think he and George Carlin were kind of on the same like shows early on. And then they both just, they found their voice or they got sick of TV or whatever and they just said it. But then you have the audience for people to listen and take you in and you're kind of playing with fire. So you want to be a bit of a professional.
Exactly. For Carlin and Pryor, once they were clean people. Okay, they got familiar. And then once they, especially in their time, once they were dirty, people grew to love them, I feel, even more.
Right.
Because at that time, it's like, wow, this is new. Nobody has ever been this raunchy on TV or on albums at that time. So we definitely love this guy.
Yeah, they were breaking barriers in that realm. And they were also, I feel like, funnier than they were this thing, which was also surprising. So they had a lot working for them.
Absolutely.
We got this question that we do on every Cripescast podcast, and Cripes is like, you heard Cripes being an Indianapolis guy?
Man.
It's like, Cripes, like something that like just ticks you off or makes you that just annoys you, know? Like, shoot, and so I'm curious if there's something that just annoys you, generally speaking, some like your pet peeve, some that drives you nuts.
When people tell me to do something that I'm already doing.
Like what?
Oh man, it could be if I'm it could be something like if I'm taking out the trash, I'm literally bagging it up. Like, oh yeah, don't forget to take that out. That I don't know what about it. It's just like, are you I'm not gonna say that word because I'll get canceled before I'm even on. But like, are you just not looking? Are you like what's going on? But that's one. I hate being touched.
Okay. Just generally, you hate being touched.
I hate the people who like,
got it.
I
you don't like the bro slaps, like the one of these, like a wiggle type thing on the shoulder?
If I see somebody, one of my bros, and we dap up, that's cool. But just people who generally just like to, I'm like, just get off me, man. What are you doing? What are you doing? Try to think of one more. I hate whistling. I hate whistling.
You hate being the guy whistling or hearing the whistle?
I hate hearing whistling.
Do you whistle yourself?
I can't.
Is that why you hate it?
So maybe I'm a hater. I don't know. But I just, I'm like, all right, you can cut that out. About 3 seconds of whistling, I'm like, all right, cool, because that sounds cool. Because I like the sound of music. All right, that's what you're whistling. But after that, it's like, come on, man. Come on, let's cut that out.
Yeah, okay. Do you think, because whistling is a tough one because it's hard to find someone who whistles really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a lot of it's like an airy whistle type thing. Like if I do this.
I think it's the airy whistle. I think
like, see, at the end, it started to fade off into not being a good whistle.
I heard it at the very, yeah. But people who can whistle really good is like people who can sing. It's like, okay, you're really good. But I think that airy whistle, that mid-level whistle, because I can't whistle. for nothing. But people who can mid-level whistle is like, if you're a intermediate level whistler, hell no. Like, cut it. Please stop. Cut it out, man. Or lady. Like, just stop. But if you're a professional whistler, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool. But if you're like a karaoke level whistler, it's like, nah, you need to cut that, turn it off. Turn it off.
And the thing you said about like people telling you what to do, I would assume you probably get a lot of unsolicited advice now that you've like taken off a little bit, and they're like, you should do a series about that video, man.
I will say that specifically about the series, that because I wasn't gonna make this a series until somebody commented like, hey, you should make this a series. That advice I did take. Okay. But anything outside of, what, for this character, you should do.
Oh, really? You don't like any of that?
I don't. And I'm never rude to people or like tell them to like get the hell on or nothing like that. But I will say I don't really care for that.
Got it.
You should do this for this. And like, no. I appreciate it, but I'm good. Even my comedy homies, they'll, because I'm the same way with my stand-up. Like, I don't like people to punch up my jokes or you want this tag? I'm like, if it's somebody I truly respect, I'll be like, okay, what you got? Because for me, I like to be original. I like for it to come from me. And I don't want anybody that's like, here, take this tag or take this. I'm like, I'll hear you out, but I know I'm not going to use it. So
interesting. That's funny, man.
Yeah, actually, one of my homies, Asia, she's a phenomenal stand-up comedian, and she asked me, she's like, "Hey, do you want can I give you this tidbit for bugging?" I said, "Absolutely not." Like, because we had talked a long time ago about because she's the same way with her stand-up. She's like, I don't like people punching up my jokes. And I was like, remember that convo we had about stand-up? Like, it still applies to this. I'm like, I'm good. Because I would hate to use somebody's stuff and it bombs.
Yeah,
like, I used that and it didn't even go.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting. It being kind of about you wanting to be original and like that's sort of the root of where that comes from. Because like I'm kind of the thing of like I'll take an idea, if that makes my life easier. Because like sometimes I'm like with these algorithms, making these videos, you've got to like continue making videos, and I'm like at some point I'm gonna need an idea. I will take your idea. Gotcha. And early on, I got a lot of like suggestions from the audience, from like people in Facebook messages, and they were good ideas. And I started using them, and the videos did well. But I can see what you're saying too, of maybe that takes away your own. I'm sure there's a balance for it, of where some is good, but a lot is not good. But
it's a lot of not good. It's a lot of not good. It's a lot of not. It's a shitload of not good, man.
Yeah,
it'll come from people from all walks of life. Not to say that only comedians are good at coming up with concepts, but it's like people will just throw out just stuff that it's not even on brand for me.
Right.
It's like, oh, you know what? You should, for the bugging skit, you should bring in a cross dresser dipped in mayonnaise. It's like. What do you like? Come on, man. Like, what do you even talk about? Like, that's like, no, thanks, but no thanks. I just won't take anything.
Yeah, I got you. That feels like it's more putting the creative like juice back in you and just going after it. Whatever fuels you, whatever works for you. I kind of take it in, and then if something happens, great, but who knows? I could be wrong about that too. But either way, those are great things that piss you off. I love it.
My cripes.
Your cripes. Things that make you go cripes. It's beautiful.
Yeah, man.
Before I let you go, where can people get tickets for your show coming up again, and where can they follow you?
They can get tickets for my upcoming show at atlcomedytheater.com. atlcomedytheater.com. Follow me, all social media platforms. I made it easy and consistent. Nate Russ Comedy on all platforms. NATERUSS Comedy. That's Instagram, Facebook, AOL chat rooms, Black Planet, Craigslist. Nate Russ Comedy on everything.
That's awesome. To lock that in too, because I feel like that's not an uncommon name, like.
You know, man, Nate Russ, I feel it's a, for one, it's a shortened version of my real name, which is Nathaniel Russell. And I thought that Russ was a easy thing to spell and to say and to, just look at. But for a lot of people, it's not, man.
Some might go Roos.
I've been Nate Rust. I've been Nat Rush. I wrote it, and I don't have terrible handwriting. I wrote it on the sign up for the open mic, and give it up for Nate Ross. Oh man, I'm like, that's the wrong vowel. Man.
Now no one's gonna forget though. Nate Ross.
Nate
Although
Russ.
You did just throw a bunch of other names out there, so maybe they'll get confused.
It is. Well,
that's how it goes.
Nate Rust. That was like there's no T at the end of that, man. But yeah, Nate Rust Comedy, all social media platforms, man.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and we'll have to connect when I'm down in Georgia. And
what part of Georgia?
It's a suburb of Atlanta or
Alpharetta, Sandy Springs.
Potentially, I'd have to look it up.
Wherever it is, it's 30 minutes from me.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
Because I live in Gwinnett County, which is everything's 30 minutes from Atlanta, but I live 30 minutes from Atlanta, actually. But yeah, man, when is the show?
Also, I don't know. I think it is November, Center Stage Theater. What town is that in, Hannah? Just says Atlanta.
And that's the thing about Atlanta marketing. They have to put Atlanta because that's the broad one.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be probably 25 minutes from Atlanta, but yeah, man, if I'm in town, I'm going to pull up on you, man. I'm going to check you out.
Let's connect on that. And maybe we'll shoot that sketch or shoot some other sketch, man.
We'll figure it out. Awesome, you said September when? September or October what?
November 16th.
November 16th.
Yeah.
We'll connect. We'll figure something out, man. That's a Saturday. Okay. Yeah. One show, two shows, weekend?
One show Saturday, yeah.
Okay.
One show. So far, unless it really just blows out, then two. But
gotcha.
Yeah.
Appreciate you having me, bro.
Awesome. Appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon, Nate.
All right, man. Peace.
All right, later. All right, folks, that is it for now. Make sure you follow Nate at Nate Russ Comedy on all the platforms. That's NATERUSS Comedy. If you're in Atlanta, check out his show at the Norcross Atlanta Comedy Theater, August 25th. You can find tickets at the Atlanta Comedy Theater's website, atlcomedytheater.com. And of course, you can follow us, Cripescast, at Cripescast on all the platforms, cripescast.com. You can get tour dates. You can get merch soon. Our merch store is actually closed right now, but it'll be back up in the next few days here. So anyways, check us out, cripescast.com, and we will see you next week. Everybody keep her moving. Watch for deer. Thank you for listening. Thanks to Colleen Maraca for producing, Hannah Milos for editing, and thanks again to all of you. We'll see you guys next week.
So roll out the barrel and get the band brewing. Life's got you down, just keep her moving. It's on Wisconsin, the Badgers say it's the old Wisconsin Jubilee. You know, sometimes when you're ice fishing, you put your foot in the walleye hole and go ass over tea kettle and you think you're done. No, you gotta keep her moving.